demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what democracy looks like. We are out here protesting fascism, standing for our First Amendment rights, and saying hell no to authoritarianism.
Imagine being a racist and your fellow racist people don't like you. You want to tell me we had Republicans in the street as well, protesting that they are tired of DJT? Now, baby, let me tell you, you know the orange man was having a heart attack. You know the orange man was stressed. Have you seen those numbers? First things first, I'm going to say black people, clap for yourselves. Hold your heart and say, I am that Shiite. No, because y'all gagged to the floor. When black people said, on this one we will come out. The white people said, if you lead, we shall follow. Over 7 million people. Don't play with black people now. Don't play with black people. And first of all, I want to give it to the white people. Why am I so excited? I want to give, oh my God, why am I so excited? Even my English is failing me. I want to give it to the white people this time around because y'all listened. Okay? Y'all listened. We were not talking about that nonsensical nonsense of the Papa Revolution. We were talking about No King's protest. And black people said, we want you to lead. We want you on the front. If we join, we join you. And white people said, thou shalt us listen. No, because statistics were you. Oh. Why am I shouting? Why am I so excited? Y'all know it was so hectic for DJT that he even wanted to call the military on Cali. Hello, Chicago. How you doing, baby? Yeah,
Hell no to authoritarianism.
If my ancestors as slaves can lead the greatest general strike in the history of this country, taking it to the ultra-rich and big corporations, we can do the same today. I'm calling on black people, white people, brown people, Asian people, immigrants, gay people from around this country to stand up against tyranny and to send a clear message to the ultra-rich and big corporations. We are going to make them pay their fair share in taxes to fund our food, to fund jobs, to fund healthcare, to fund transportation. Democracy will live on because of this generation. Are you ready to take it to the courts and to the streets?
Basically are, right? When we're seeing just the depth of the attacks that are happening, trying to roll back all those gains that were won through past struggle, that you were talking about. And they're not going to win. They're not going to do it. This crowd out here is showing why they're not going to do it.
It's our money. It's supposed to go to us. And so when we go on a general strike, we're basically saying we want our money to go back to us. We want our power to go back to us, not to these fascists.
So this is what Donald Trump had to say after 7 million people protested against him around the entire world. He claims the No Kings protest was actually small and ineffective and doesn't represent America. I wish I was joking. Just take a look at this clip.
And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
If these protests were so small and ineffective, then why did Idaho look like this? And why did Austin, Texas look like this, an entire sea of people spanning out for miles? This wasn't just a few hundred people with signs being paid by George Soros to be here. This was 7 million citizens across the entire world standing up for free speech, democracy, and equality. From New York to London to Tokyo, people marched because they see what's happening. In the United States, we have a president that's acting more like a monarch than a public servant. And Trump's reaction to all of this perfectly captures why these protests exist in the first place. Instead of doing some basic self-reflecting, he chooses to attack everyday Americans for exercising their rights. When millions of people are demanding accountability, he chooses to call them radical left lunatics. That's not leadership, that is projection. When you jail protesters, censor critics, and replace government officials with loyalists, you're not behaving like a president of a democracy. You're behaving like a ruler who millions of people are marching against and the world is watching.
Here are celebrities who actually showed up and marched in the No King's Day protest yesterday, and other stars who finally spoke up after being pressured to because they were silent. Olivia Rodrigo attended the No King's Day protest in LA. She posted her view from the march, along with posting that she's lived in LA her whole life and she's deeply upset about these violent deportations in her neighborhood under the current administration. Kerry Washington attended a No King's protest, taking photos with fans, proudly holding up signs like "The only monarch I like is a butterfly." Josh Hutcherson posted his view from the No King's Day protest, which I think is ironic because a lot of people use Hunger Games phrases on their signs because that movie is also about a oppressive government. Talk show host Jimmy Kimmel was marching in the LA No King's Day protest with his shirt that said "Make America Good Again." Iconic White Lotus star Natasha Rothwell was protesting with her sign that said "You are trash." Anna Kendrick was marching. She was taking a lot of photos with fans with signs that said "No fascism in America." Mark Ruffalo, aka the Hulk, marched and gave an incredible speech at the New York No King's Day protest. And he said, when Americans all come together to stop oppression and overreach of the government, that we are the Avengers.
Let's go over some of the best signs from the No King's protest. Imagine losing our country to a fat bitch that can't even blend his makeup.
I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
What's your response to the protests over the weekend, the No King's protests?
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
By the way, I'm not a king.
The numbers are in. Today, over 7 million people all across the world, literally, went out and protested for the future of the people, fair governance, and democracy while protesting against Donald Trump and his administration. Over 100,000 people protested in Los Angeles, 200,000 people in Washington, D.C., over 100,000 people in New York City, 100,000 people in Boston, 100,000 people in Chicago, 40,000 people in Portland, not to mention the loads of people who showed up and protested in places like San Diego, Philadelphia, or San Francisco. And these figures don't even begin to account for what we saw in the over 2,600 American cities that hosted protests that I haven't even named. And the best part of it is, these protests were peaceful. Cities like San Diego and New York City reported 0 protest-related arrests, making No King's Day 2.0 one of the largest peaceful protests in this country's history.
The crowd is for sure building here at Father Duffy Square in what is the second No King's Day demonstration we are seeing across the country this year. You can take a look at those signs. Demonstrators are here with their flags, some even with their children. And the first No King's Day demonstration in June was triggered by President Donald Trump's military parade. This time around, it's sparked by the prolonged government shutdown, along with the deployment of federal authorities towards immigration enforcement and at other demonstrations across the country. Some of these signs here we're seeing say, "America was built by immigrants. We don't bow to billionaires." Just a lot of frustration from demonstrators here and across the country, calling the Trump administration authoritarian.
We are here today because it is this city, it is this state that cannot, will not, and will never bend a knee to any regime that tells us that we do not belong. We have seen a young black man in Chicago thrown to the ground, put in handcuffs, while people called out, "But he's a citizen." We have seen a woman outside of a school get thrown down and put in handcuffs as she said, "They don't have a warrant. They won't show me a warrant." They had to release her later. We are America, and we won't let you take her.
That's not loud enough. Today we say no kings. In Washington, D.C., there is a total breakdown of our democracy. Speaker Johnson has become a wholly owned subsidiary of Donald Trump. He has shut down the House of Representatives, where we do the work for the people. Tyranny and liberty cannot live in the same house. So today we say no king.
I want to show you the unbelievable turnout of the No Kings protest in major cities across the U.S. This is Boston, Massachusetts. This is Washington, D.C., where over 200,000 people have turned out. This is New York City, where they expect probably 200,000 people as well. And this is Chicago, Illinois. This entire protest is likely the largest ever in modern American history. Good job, guys.
It's one thing to read about a revolution. It's another thing to be on the diamond one. I'm here for all the people who've been living check to check. I'm here for every person who is hanging on by a thread. I'm here for every person working two to three jobs just to make ends meet. I'm here to everybody who had an American dream that wanted to become rich. It was just so you can live and be happy and be free. That's the reason why I'm here. It's the only way you can drag my black ass away from homecoming weekend.
Demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
By the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
So, Donald Trump just posted an AI video of himself flying a fighter jet, wearing a crown, dropping literal feces on protesters down below. That's the disgusting world that we live in today. And the protest in question, the No King's Day, was responded to by the president playing a king in an AI video, bombing his citizens with his sewage. But here's what I find fascinating. Everyone's arguing about whether or not this is funny, offensive, disgusting, but almost nobody's talking about the place that I'm still at. How is this normal and expected of a president? How can this be taken seriously by any political party? How can anybody think that this is a mature individual fit to rule? I'm going to tell you something about leadership that Donald Trump could never tell you. When you're a president or a prime minister or a boss or a leader, you're a leader for everyone in that country or workplace or whatever, not just the people who voted for you, not just the people who like you. This isn't a fandom, this is a presidency. Donald Trump's constitutional role is to represent all of his people within the United States of America, be they right or left wing, be they young or old, be they black or white, be they gay or straight, be they MAGA or not. I find his actions immature, childish and scary, of course, but scary in the sense of this is a toddler behind the Resolute desk, an infant in the Oval Office. We have entered into a cultural era where humiliation is a form of entertainment, and entertainment has replaced logical, reasonable, balanced leadership and governance. Where the line between propaganda and parody has completely dissolved into pandemonium. Childish, memeage, and suits, ties, and degrees have been swapped for diapers. Trump doesn't just communicate through words anymore, or actions. He communicates through symbols, spectacle, and public theatre. And every image is a psychological weapon, a performance of dominance intended to diminish the exceptionally valid concerns of the people who he's meant to be leading, the citizens of the United States of America. Now, the feces isn't the point, the degradation is. It says, I can soil you publicly and my followers will cheer, and it's politics of mockery. I will come into your towns and bring in the army or whatever, and degrade you as far as I want to. Power no longer needs silence to dissent. It just needs to turn protest into a punchline. Valid concern and outrage into humiliation. And here's the part that chills me. It works because he's training people to consume outrage, humiliation, and degradation as entertainment. Yes, of course, but also as politics. That this is the new age of politics. Trump's meme wasn't a tantrum, it was a test, as all of his moves tend to be. In his time in power, we've seen him push boundaries of law, order and constitution, breaking democracy apart like a cookie and scoffing it down. It's all a test of how deep the hypnosis of cult can possibly run and how far he can push those boundaries until an audience realises that the theatre is real. This is how he feels about his people. Anybody who doesn't stand with him is his enemy, regardless of whether or not they're a citizen of the United States or not. And the terrifying answer to all of this is there is no line with Donald Trump. We've merged satire into statecraft, into one continuous spectacle, and the loudest performer wins. And whilst he's memeing away like an elementary school bully, some of the most horrifying things in modern history are happening within the United States of America, unfolding below his very feet and at his very fingertips. Now, I don't think that this is just Trump. I think it's a culture that he mirrors and a culture that he's spreading, a brainless, hateful outrage opera of division and degradation of one's political opponents. A society so overstimulated, with the only language left being shock. This is what happens when a civilization loses its inner life to corruption. That's when there's no sacred left. The grotesque becomes the substitute. When depth dies, irony becomes God. His post isn't about memes, it's about frequency, dominance, control, humiliation, and degradation. And the energetic tone of a culture that's forgotten reverence, humility, and respect. He's built an empire on mockery, with him as the front man and evil as the ensemble, and he will drown the United States in it, and he is doing so. He'll drown the world in it, give him half the chance. Trump didn't just drop sewage on protesters, he dropped a symbol, because the real spectacle isn't the video, it's the protest, the millions who are scared, terrified, and outraged that this is the state of a nation and their leadership, a malevolent, malicious baby. I remain deeply concerned for the USA, but I'd also like to point out that what Trump wants isn't monarchy. Take it from a Brit. His vision of himself isn't a king. Absolute control, dominance, and unshared power within one person might have been how a king functioned hundreds of years ago, but it certainly isn't how it works within modern constitutional monarchy, and he is relying on the stupidity of his fan base who genuinely think that's what a king is. Trump's version of a king is just ego with a scepter, the insecure man who mistakes obedience for loyalty and cruelty for strength. It's not kingship, it's performance, like a child in the dressing up box, putting on a crown and ordering around the playground. It's power without purpose. He doesn't want to lead, he wants to dominate. He wants to turn the entire country into a mirror that only reflects back his image. We've seen this on his social media time and time and time again. That isn't sovereignty. That's spiritual bankruptcy wrapped in gold foil and telling you that it's solid. What's wild is that he keeps proving in real time. He posts an AI video of himself dropping feces on his protesters and people call that funny or edgy or alpha. That's not a king. That's a tyrant playing with digital puppets. A king would never desecrate on his own people, even his enemies, for applause. A king's strength is measured by his restraint. Think about Queen Elizabeth and the history of Queen Elizabeth. A silent, never-wavering mast of society. That is the role of monarchy. The monarch's strength is measured by restraint, while a government rule. A dictator's by their ability to humiliate. So no, Trump isn't a king. He's a man desperate, hungry, starving to be worshipped by a culture that's forgotten what dignity, respect and education, not to mention civility, look like. And it's disgusting.
Check out this lady that's gonna walk through here. Watch what she's gonna say. Girl, what, I mean, or whatever you are. I know. And everybody here is old. Everybody here is old. There's nobody here. What are you look, where are you going? Girl, you don't walk nowhere. You know, this is all they have. They have Pokemon, and then watch this. What is this?
They have Reptar? Well, why is Reptar?
And look at this. What is this going to do? This is like when you lose an argument and you say, nah, 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 boo, boo. Like, you don't have any kind of response. Like, do y'all remember that episode on Family Guy when he's arguing with the horse and the horse was like, hee-haw, hee-haw, because that was the only response he could get. Look at this. This is all they got. I don't know if it's poop or not, but this is all they have. Look at him. They have him as a pig over here. What? And they always look like this. Really, like, what is this going to prove? Look at this. Where do they get these supplies from? Like, seriously, where do they organize and get all this money and supplies from to go and protest like this? And everybody is, oh, these people are truly demonic. It's so weird. Rapid response choir. So they were paid to come out there and sing that. And look at everybody on their phones. Everybody's on their phone trying to see where's the next stop. Where are they supposed to go next? Because it doesn't look like anybody really knows each other. That's what's so weird. It looks like they're all just kind of there mindlessly walking around like, okay, where do we go next? Where were we paid to go next? Demons can't help it. Watch this. Them demons, they can't help it.
They love me. They really love me. I love it. We're in Times Square, folks. We're having a great time at the No Kings rally. They're here for me. They're throwing me a parade. I love a parade. Thank you so much. We love it, folks.
Breaking news, the No Kings Day protests that are being held right now, as I'm filming this video in close to 3,000 American cities, is already one of the largest protests in American history, and according to a handful of analysts, could end up being the largest in American history. For instance, as I'm filming this video, event organizers have already confirmed that there is over 200,000 people in attendance at the protest in Washington, D.C. This makes it the largest protest in D.C. under the Trump era, and one of the largest, top 5 in the history of our capital's existence. Just to give you some perspective, No Kings Day 1.0 is widely considered to be the 3rd largest protest in this country's history. And during No Kings Day 1.0, there was 100,000 people in attendance in DC, and that was the final tally once the protest was over. Today, the event's not over, and organizers have already confirmed, as I already pointed out, that there are over 200,000 people in attendance. If you're able to and you haven't yet, make sure to get involved with your local protests, which you could find by visiting nokings.org.
Y'all ate. No Kings protest? Yeah. One for the books. And that's on period. Now, what's the next step?